Hi everyone, welcome to live podcast. Today I am going to have a very special guest, Mr. Rob Greenleaf from Trust Factor Labs. And yeah, it's been a long time that I haven't greeted you, but I am here today and I'm very happy to see you all after a long time after losing Todd Cochrane from Blueberry, the CEO of Blueberry. It's a great loss for me also. And yeah, I had my broken heart at that time when I heard the news because it was only some days after our meetings about our plan to go to Podfest with Rob Greenlee on the stage. And then he is ready to sponsor my visa to US. And yeah, a lot of, I don't know, not only sadness, but it is a great changes that I have to face suddenly at that time. No, I don't want to cry now because I'm not here to cry, but I am here to restart everything from zero. And it is a great time for me here, even though it is midnight here, to meet you all. And we have a lot of changes on social media also, so we are going to talk about the creator economy in AI era and what the content creators should do in this era, right? I know there are a lot of changes, and of course it is very hard to keep up the update, and because we have to focus on our business too, on our goals. So what should we do as a content creator, or maybe if you are an influencer, or maybe I don't know, like the entrepreneur or something. So welcome, Rob Greenlee. How have you been? It's an
I'm
honor
doing,
to have you here again.
yeah, I'm doing good, Sonia. It's great to be back on your live stream again, and it's been a little bit of time, but I think the industry changes and it's evolving at all moments. So there's always a lot of stuff to share about where we are in the creator economy and how AI is increasingly impacting all that. And then now the conversation is a lot about video, which isn't a new conversation, but
That's true.
it's been renewed based on Apple's decision to get involved more in video. So that's complicating things for creators too, and that kind of connects up with AI too. So there's a lot of things to talk about. It's a very complex kind of creator economy right now.
Why it sounds like Apple changes the map of the direction of content creators. Why you mentioning like that? I mean, like it sounded that way. It is like a new
Yeah,
compass for the content creator, especially the podcasters. And yes, we cannot avoid the changes. Like the podcast now is also about video, but in the past, podcast is also with video, right? Maybe live stream
yeah.
now, and I don't think that there are not many changes. But why people are panicking? I mean, especially the content creators because of it.
Well, I think there's a lot of issues going on right now. I think with Apple making the choice that they made, it's really kind of solidified this video trend, and has made it a little easier to make the case that um, video can be a podcast now. So where I think the conversation prior to this was, can we really call a video a podcast? So now it's a video inside of a podcast. I would say the largest podcast consumption platform is Apple. I mean, a lot of people think it's YouTube, but it's actually not. That is a perception. It depends on how you define what a podcast is, and I think what Apple did is help clarify that. So I think it's definitely easier to call um, video now a podcast than it was prior. And so I think what you're going to see now is just everybody thinking about content now from a video first perspective. And I think what's really challenging right now is, well, where does that leave audio? Um, Audio is certainly a big part of podcasting, and it is still the largest format or type that is being consumed in the podcasting space. Apple is still the largest platform for consumption of podcasts in the audio format, but it's positioning itself to be potentially one of the largest or the largest uh, distributor of video podcasts too. So, where's this line between what's on YouTube and what's in Apple Podcasts now? It's it just muddies the water even more, and now Apple is making money from this too. So that's another twist to it. Yeah.
And not all of the content creators are in front of the camera, right? Maybe they also create contents like the content agents for another influencers or another entrepreneurs and other brands, right? So, what should they do if they are like introvert like me, do not want to be in front of camera actually, or uh, afraid in front of the camera actually? So, what should they do then?
Well, I think it's still a respectable strategy to do audio if that's what you would prefer to do. There's still a lot of consumption of audio, so it's not necessarily what's happening with the video is replacing that audio consumption. It's probably the best way to look at it is that it's adding another layer to the options that a consumer of podcasts has to consume. They can start listening to a show in their car on their way home from work, and they can continue it in their living room when they get home. That's the process that we're evolving into more and more. But audio consumption is still the biggest. Now, even on my new media show that I do, it's like 80% audio consumption, 20% video. So you can kind of see where that's kind of playing out. Video is not necessarily the primary in all cases, though some shows it is primary. In other cases, the audio is primary. So that's the thing. It's not a either or necessarily. It's really the optimal strategy for a lot of creators is going to be both, and that's up to each creator to decide what they feel comfortable doing. If they don't feel comfortable doing video and going to the expense of video, complications of video to actually do it right, then it's perfectly acceptable, and you can grow an audience on the audio side. It isn't like video is going to replace that.
And then on your new media show, which is We Thought, well, usually you empower and inspire most of the podcasters with thought. And then with this kind of changing, what are you going to do? Do you have any changes too on your show, Rob?
I'm playing around with formats right now. I'm on a cadence right now. I'm kind of booked up with guests for the next month or more, and have filled in with other conversations with people in between that you're going to see come out too as the show tries to keep up with the changes in the new media space. And sometimes it's hard to keep up with it when you're only doing a weekly episode. So I'm doing other fill-in episodes, but I do have a regular cadence that I'm doing mostly weekly. And I have a lot of stuff kind of already booked and in the can. And also I'm going to be doing probably a few less live shows and a few more pre-recorded shows is the path I'm on right now. So it just depends on, time availability for people to be able to join me. Sometimes they can't join me on Wednesday at my usual live time. So, but I still want to talk to them. Right.
That will be great, and because it's been a long time that we are not meeting each other like this, and I would like to talk a lot. And then, please kindly check your messenger. I send you something about our notes, our drafts agenda today.
Yeah, I think it was a timely topic. Also on trying to talk about how AI is trying to kind of fitting in and changing things. I'm not sure that the AI topic necessarily changes a lot in the podcasting space necessarily. Podcasting historically has been not necessarily a leader in embracing new technology. It's always been a little bit of a follower. And so I think that there's a lot of changes that are going on with AI, with content that are not really that much in effect in the podcasting space. They will become more important over the subsequent months as people experiment with it and find ways that it can improve workflows. And that's the key point is that AI has a place right now, but it's podcasting is mostly a human created medium, which means that it's not a AI created medium, though there's some in the industry that would like to convert it to being an AI creator medium to some degree, but it's always going to be. I think AI creators will always be kind of like secondary in the podcasting space. It's going to have its piece, and I think all of us as podcasters and new media creators need to be knowledgeable about it and need to take advantage of it to create some efficiencies in what we're doing. Podcasting can be a very difficult and complex project to do. There's so many different elements to it. There's best practices that people should do to make their shows acceptable to their audience. But oftentimes those don't get done because they're complex and they take a lot of time. So people do skip things, and AI can help streamline a lot of that stuff to give you more time to think about the content versus just all of the pre and back end work that has to be done that a lot of people don't like.
That's true, but then, yeah, how can we keep updating our content? You mentioned about workflows. It seems that we need to plan our content or something like that. Then,
Yeah.
in that case, do you think that all of the content creators need to have a brand or a personal brand so that they can
Oh yeah.
stand out in front in the crowds?
Well, your personal brand is your your unique kind of proposition, right? It's your
You are
personality,
the
it's your
brand
knowledge.
sometimes.
Right, exactly. And it's really hard to separate that. And some shows name themselves, the Rob Greenlee show as an example, versus, like a show like the New Media Show, right? So you have the spectrum, and some people have a strong enough brand that they can just build a show off of their own name. And so personal brand has always been a big part of this, and personal brand has always been related to your ability to either bring a community to your show, if it's a new show, or build a community with your show that aligns with your personality and your knowledge and your brand and your ability to connect with people on your show and build that bond relationship that is so exciting to have with a audience with your show. I've had the opportunity to do it a few times over the years, and there's a loyal group of people that are just with you on that podcasting journey, and they're
Yeah,
with you every week.
just
They
like
may
you.
come and
Even
go.
though it's been a long time, I'm not here. Right.
Yeah,
So thank you so much.
yeah. But it's a journey that each one of us has to figure out for themselves, right? And some people start off with a strong personal brand that they've been able to build a community around prior to their podcasting. And then there's others that don't have a personal brand that are trying to use podcasting to start one.
Yeah.
And that oftentimes is a little different pathway. You have to be a little bit more aggressive when you're just trying to build something.
And what I mean is like, how important is personal brand or brand as for the content creators, especially for their business, right? Most of the
Yeah.
people are doing this for the business, of course.
Yeah, I think the connection between a human being or a person with a company brand is is much more powerful than just trying to be an anonymous human that has a brand, right? That doesn't really have a personal connection between you as the owner of the company or a leader that's inside of that company to put a human face on the company brand, because people generally don't follow company brands. They follow people. So if people are
Wow.
associated with that brand and they like those people, then that's going to boost the company brand.
Wow. I think, what about the big brands like Nike, Apple? Do people follow Apple or the influencers or the brand ambassadors? Because you mentioned that people
Yeah.
follow people, not the brands.
Yeah. Well, those are brands that have such high visibility. They almost have a personhood because they're so big and well known. So their brand is probably more aligned with what a personal brand would be. Like Apple and Microsoft and all those have a long-standing reputation with people, and people have a perception about them. If you if you have a smaller company that people don't really have a clear understanding of what they are and who they are, then that personal brand piece can be like a magnet to draw people. It's like, oh, I like this person. What company does he have, and what is he doing in his company, and do I want to be aligned with that company? So it's a different kind of magnetic relationship that's really rooted to some degree in trust. I think a lot of the big company brands out there either have trust with their community or they are kind of struggling with that part because of actions and behaviors that the brand has partaken, just like a human would, that could lose that trust.
Now I understand. So it's like Carlos Sainz from F1. So when he was in the Ferrari, people follow him, but now he moved into Williams, then people still follow him. It's just like
Yeah,
me. It doesn't matter who the driver is or what the brand is or what the car is, but if you like someone, then you will follow him, something like that.
yeah,
Is that what you mean?
yeah. It is. I mean, I think it is. I think it's human behavior to have that kind of dynamic. I mean, all of us have friends. All of us have people that we align with in our thoughts and our interests, and have built a trust relationship of sorts. And those relationships will follow you throughout your journey. It's the same thing that happened with my career for many years. When I spent, I was at Microsoft. I was very public when I was working there, and that community traveled with me into my other companies that I worked with as well. So, I think your personal brand is really so important now, especially if you have a career path and trying to build trust. And it's a very challenging time now. It's not easy to
I
build trust
understand.
in a world like we live in right now that's so divided and so kind of struggling to find an approach that everybody kind of aligns on. There's so much. This concept of diversity is somewhat of a double-edged sword. You have a lot of diversity in the world, and that's a lot of different views, a lot of different values, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different trying to mesh together. And sometimes that doesn't always go smoothly. Like we see in the world today, in a war environment and there's a lot of conflict, and that is
That's
really
true. It's
rooted in
worrying, but
in
I
culture.
cannot talk about it here. So, and
No, I
then
know I'm not going to. Right.
and then Rob, one thing that I'm worried about also the changes on social media, and because you mentioned so many changes and it is hard to keep up while we have to focus on our business too, right, on social media. And do you think that we really need to keep up to update all the time about the changes on social media, or focus on our content with the workforce, with the plans of the content? Or should we uh, live stream every day? Should we record every day, or post every day for 3 times, like some of the gurus said, or something like that? What should we do? There are so many changes, right? So what should we focus
Yeah.
on first?
Well, I think the big thing to think about in that question really is what are these platforms doing, and how are they looking at users and the content that's being pushed into their platforms. And it's increasingly looking like that frequency of publish isn't the magic bullet that it used to be. These platforms are increasingly evaluating the content that's published to them on a standalone basis, which means that the quality of the content is really increasingly becoming the the metric. What's the relevancy? What's the engagement that's happening from whatever posts that you're doing? So, if you post a hundred different posts to your social channels, but none of them connect with anybody, then you're not really accomplishing anything, right? So
Yes.
maybe it's smarter to pull back and produce less content that has more value in it. And so when you think about value, well, what does that look like? Value is thinking about your audience and what they're interested in. A lot of content creators create content because the creator has the interest in something, but it may not be what the audience wants. So we're in this era of trying to figure out, and this is what I struggle with all the content that I produce now, is that if you look at like a YouTube rewards content that caters to the desires of the audience that has been identified by the algorithm. And I think the social platforms also have biases in them towards certain topics and certain things that they have historically learned from their data set that works better, right, with audiences to create engagement. So they'll drive traffic to content or posts that there's a track record of driving engagement and driving people to stay on the platform longer. And so that's the struggle that all content creators now, and it's less of an issue because podcasting really doesn't have a lot of algorithms driving audience yet. Though I think that's coming. I think podcast content increasingly is getting sucked up into the vortex of algorithmic recommendations. And I think we're seeing that with the shorts, even though shorts now are being flooded with AI content now. And I'm not sure how shorts are going to play out in the long run. I think long form content, quality content, is actually doing quite well right now. And increasingly we're seeing shows that are like 2 or 3 hours long do very well as well. It obviously depends on what it is, what the topic is, and what the flow of the conversation is. And then you're also seeing this tug of war going on at YouTube around AI content too. And it creates this environment where it's like, should I create AI content or should I not? We're starting to see this pushback in people's rejection of AI content, because quite honestly, AI content right now is in some ways not that good yet, and people can notice that it's not real, right? Even though it can maybe look like it's human,
But not.
but
But then
there are
that's the
subtle
thing.
things involved,
AI
right?
is not AI only. There will be much more than AI after this. And because you mentioned that we can differ between AI and human, but then it will be difficult after this. Now it's already a bit difficult when you watch the video. Yes, the people who are already online for sometimes they can differ, but the other who is new or just a startup, like the real after AI human differentiation will be hard, right? The people will have the difficulties for the judgment, leadership, courage, vision, and even ethics, and this is why you are on the trust lab, because the trust factor will be very huge in this case. So
Yeah.
oh my
Well, I think
god.
that's the real dividing line as we look to the future is, well, what content do we trust? And what people do we trust? What companies do we trust? Those are all, if you really back up and you think about it, what governments do we trust? What institutions do we trust? I mean, everything now has this question mark in front of it as it relates to either a personal brand, companies, organizations, or governments now. Can we trust them? Do we trust what they say? Do we trust that what they say actually occurs, or is what they say going to occur, right, in maybe someone else's perception or in someone else's life? So I think this vector of trust is really key to everything going forward, and that's a tough project to take on. And I know I'm trying to do that with my Trust Factor Lab is to address this, but I'm trying to address it from how a creator needs to look at it, and it's rooted in a level of honesty that maybe the world isn't ready for or want necessarily, but it's rooted in human factors, and then being able to apply those human factors to AI content that you create to create a trusted relationship in both areas. So how can you do that? How can you create content with AI that has the same level of trust metrics that a human created piece of content would be? And that's the magic formula here is, then AI just becomes a tool of extension for human communication instead of a replacement for.
Yes, talking about the trust, yeah, it's very hard to trust someone online now. We have been knowing each other for I don't know how many years. I don't want to count it. And then even I was so close with Todd Cochrane professionally, because he's my sponsor with Blueberry also, and then with the other sponsors. I would like to mention now before I forget one by one. And then also Katie Gentry Fox from Ecamm. I'm using Ecamm now. That's why it's a huge support from Ecamm that I can go live streaming. And then Blueberry, of course, Georgie Krengle, who has been supporting me just like you from the very
Yeah.
first time on my journey in live streaming. She's a very great voiceovers from Peace of Cake voiceovers and vocals, and also of course Mark Stinson from Bioscience Bridge, and then Ann Carden from Expert in You. And talking about trust, I would like to thank my I don't know my connections in everywhere. I don't know where I live stream now. I haven't checked one by one, but I try to live stream on Instagram. Oh my god. Oh, I haven't go live. Oh, but I'm
Yeah,
there.
that's a hard
So
platform to live
yeah,
stream on.
yeah. I have to check one by one so that the video will not what is it? And then also, yeah, I couldn't live stream on LinkedIn, and then Facebook. Now it was mentioned that I have to have 1,000 followers to live stream, but I am on Facebook, and because it is on the reel. Thank you, hugs for Barbara Tomlin, Carlos Ponix, and then Larry Boyer, and good morning, Tim Gillette. Thank you for the greetings everywhere. And I'm very happy that you still support me here. And then we are talking about content creators, and in AI era, what should we do as the content creators? And then because of my concern is about the change on social media, then I cannot follow up one by one, right? And then even in YouTube, it is okay that you can create contents with AI, but then there are so many channels that have been demonetized or even banned, and I don't know. For me, it's not clear yet about the rules on YouTube. It doesn't, what is it? Uh, how do you call it? It has permission to post the AI content, but I
Yeah.
don't know why there are so many, what is it? Channels that have been banned from YouTube. What do you think about it then?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the AI content that is getting banned is ones that are of very low quality, and also
Oh,
very
okay.
very repetitive, and not and don't have good views or view duration, because they don't do a good job of being kind of good, honest content that's in there. I know that there's plenty of AI content in there that does very well. So I think it's a quality bar that YouTube is setting, that types of repetitive AI content that is not high value content, or has elements in it that are have a perception of kind of almost like being a scam of sorts.
Yeah, what I know
Uh,
is like about to promise people to get rich instantly or in a fast
yeah,
way, almost impossible, right? When you mention you can be rich with this, and then suddenly you lose your channel, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. They don't want to have content on there that makes claims that are unrealistic, right? Or can 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 drive people to make choices in their lives that are obviously not good, but lots of people fall for it. So that does put YouTube in a position where they kind of have to say, well, this type of AI content is good because the information they have in it is valid. Um, I still think it's not quite there, but I think it will be a significant part of the content ecosystem over the next 12 to 18 months. I think it will increasingly get better and better and better, to the point where I could be doing this interview with me being an AI clone, and you would probably not be able to tell.
That's true. And then should we have a lot of followers to monetize our social media? Just like me, I don't have a lot of followers, but then the sponsors helped me out from the very beginning of my live streaming way, right? And then what do you think about it all? Because I don't want to scare the startup who like to monetize their channel, and they need to build their brand with the personal brand, right? And then they need to sell something, or what should they do if they have not many followers, just like me?
Well, I think there's kind of two sides of this too. I'm not, increasingly these platforms don't really care about your follower count. So in some ways, it's kind of a vanity metric. At the end of the day, these platforms are increasingly analyzing your content and capturing data from it, and to determine, is this content going to be relevant to other users, and will it connect, will it drive interaction, will it drive engagement. So your follower count really isn't it is becoming less of an issue. It's the same thing with podcasting. Just because someone follows you in Apple Podcasts doesn't mean that you can't reach more people. But increasingly, that's what's going to happen with all these platforms, is that they're going to be algorithmically aligned with the behavior of the user, right? And so it's going to have recommendations, or it's going to notify you when something, like a new episode becomes available that aligns with your interests, right? And that's what YouTube has been doing for a while, where podcasting has been, you go in and you subscribe or you follow, and when you use those platforms, you only go to those shows that you subscribe to, right? And go find their latest episode. Well, we're moving into an era of recommendations, and people, these platforms promoting shows that are in their algorithm are evaluated as good content that creates connection and engagement, and will push those out to more consumers, which is driving all of us to up our game of the kind of content that we're producing, and we have to, you know, those algorithms are going to drive traffic to us, if they like our content, if they see signals in the consumption side that will say, if I push this out or recommend this out to more people, then there's going to be a positive reaction. And that's the era that we're moving into, and which is quite different than the era that we have been in the past, especially with podcasting.
Yeah, I agree with you about this. Like, yeah, there are so many people teach about podcasting. Like, they mentioned they monetize their channel, right? In podcasting by only having like $2 or $5 from podcasting. But in this case, I agree with Dave Jackson when he mentioned that you are not a podcast guru if you have $2 or something like that. I forget his exact words, but that is like that. What I mean, like, you can monetize your podcast in other ways, right? You can share
Yeah.
your products there. You can share your podcast to download everywhere on all of the social media, including your website, for example. So I agree with Dave Jackson about this. Yes, you can
Yeah.
monetize, but you cannot say that you are a guru of podcasting if you only monetize like a small amount from the podcast, right? Instead of
Yeah.
building your own brand and sell your own products on your podcast after that, maybe from the advertisement, that will be great. But then sometimes, in this case, the advertisement are not always the advertisement that connect with your channels or your brands or the
Yeah.
products that you sell. So what do you think
Yeah. Or
about
your
that?
audience. Right. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Because I mean, the whole advertising thing is kind of like, um, there has to be an alignment, right, with the creator, with the audience. That's where you get the actual customers, right? If there's a misalignment on that, no matter what kind of promotion it is or product it is, that alignment is key, right? I mean, if you're a creator, Sonia, and you probably have more of an interest in microphones than somebody that doesn't have a podcast, right? So those are the kind of things. So if your show content aligns with a particular niche interest audience, then you need to find sponsors or advertisers that want to reach that same type of a person, right? So, and that's oftentimes what shows need to do, is to take their personal brand and align them with a particular product that aligns with your reputation and your community that's around your show. And I mean, I need to do that more with the content that I do too. I'm not really a sponsor oriented type of a creator. I haven't been that way since I had my radio show, but I do follow all of the trends, and I've worked with a lot of shows over the years that do monetize through sponsors and advertisers and things like that. So I have deep knowledge about it. It's just I don't always do it with my own shows.
That's true. Talking about that, and I miss Todd Cochrane because GoDaddy had been sponsoring him from the very beginning, and this is about the trust also, right? The quality, even though he's not here. I miss him like no matter how. He is a smart man. Sometimes he is pain in the ass. Maybe he's watching us right now, so I have to be careful talking about him. No, I mean,
Right.
I had argument with him also, just like you. But then, look, he was the one who was ready to sponsor me to US, no matter what. You know what I mean? So friendship goes along in a professional way with his brand Blueberry, and he has been supporting Live Podcast Insider, 100 Days Live Podcast with Sonia. And so, oh my God, then what do you think about him? if he sees this kind of changing, because you have already talked about it also before he passed away, right? With him even had some argument about podcasting, but then, yeah, it happened now. So what do you think if he is here with us today? Are we going to have the argument or have the peaceful conversation? Always peaceful conversation on my show, of course. It's up to you. It's on your show, but for me, it's a peaceful conversation. What do you think about it, sir?
I think that a lot of the changes that are happening in the medium, Todd would be concerned about, and a lot of the changes around kind of, and I'm not sure that the industry really fully sees what's happening, but there is an erosion of usage and platform adoption of RSS, and a lot of people don't really want to see that happening, but it is clearly happening, and so he would be upset about the announcement that Apple made just this past week around video, because that video announcement really doesn't have a lot to do with RSS. So he's an advocate, or he was an advocate for RSS and keeping that open standard intact. But if you look at the big platforms now, Spotify, YouTube, and now Apple, they put into place services in their platform that don't utilize RSS, and that are supposedly connected to podcasting. So we're seeing an erosion of that, and Todd would be upset about that. And Todd was very oppositional to AI. Publicly he would say that, but behind the scenes he would be working on AI projects all the time.
Yeah,
So
but he already
there's a little bit of
prepared
a
Blueberry with
right,
AI already before he went away, right? So
right,
actually,
and then the
it's him
whole
that,
video thing.
yeah, that's why. So I don't know.
Well, you have to think about it. I mean, he was very aligned with the priorities of Blueberry,
That's why.
and what Blueberry was trying to accomplish in the market was primarily pretty audio focused, right? So a lot of their products and services that they offered were audio focused, but he would behind the scenes, be building things to support video. His platform supported video via RSS. So that's what I use for my new media show, is the Blueberry platform to push out video via RSS already. And he supports the alternative enclosure tags, and I'm utilizing those too. So a lot of the smaller apps out there can go to my video feed, and in the same show interface see the audio link as well. So that's what he would be pushing for Apple, is that, don't do it an API. Just put the HLS URL link in the RSS, and it's done. There's nothing else that needs to be done. There's a protocol to do it. Just do it that way. And I would say James Cridland agrees with that as well, with Pod News.
Yeah, you
And
interviewed
so,
James Cleveland on that time, right? At that
yeah,
time.
yep. So, I think there's aspects of what are going on in the medium right now that Todd would be oppositional to, but there's other aspects of it that he would already be fully all in on. So, but he may not say it publicly. So,
And what do you think about the new leadership? Like even Barry and Mike from Blueberry are also supporting me, and I'm happy that Blueberry sponsored me for Live Podcast Insider that I postponed for the launching, waiting for the article. And
yeah.
yes, so
Well, it's the same team over there. It's mostly the same team that's working at the Blueberry platform. So it is true that the big change was Todd not being there anymore. But nonetheless, the rest of the team that Todd, created and fostered and developed is still going strong. So, it's his legacy lives on. I would hope that at some point we can bring back his People's Choice Podcast Awards, but that hasn't been something that
Yeah,
has
been
been
solved, including
possible yet.
my awards also, and then yeah, it said that I couldn't find, or the people couldn't find the recording for the sponsorship for live podcast media, especially our events, right? 100 Days Live Podcast Insider, and yeah, and also live podcast awards because he recorded with me on our last meeting, and I believe that the team in Blueberry has have been working hard to find them. But then, yeah, it said that I couldn't accept it. Usually, I had a feeling at that time. Usually, thought send the videos or anything I need right away after our meeting. Like the latest was like on the next day, but then I didn't know why. I would like to ask him, but I didn't ask him at that time. I don't know why either. So I had a bad feeling at that time already, but then I just let it flow. It's sad that he is not here anymore.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, we have to move on, and I believe that he wants us to be successful to what is it, to build our trust also with the people around us, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, his legacy is still here, but then we are here to continue his legacy, that what he would like to see in us. So, and then
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to say something about it? Do you have the, I don't know, when you were with him for the last time, what happened then?
I think the last time I saw him was at oh, what was it? At Podcast Movement, I think. I think that was the last time that I was with him in person. So, and that was quite a that was like I think 2 months before he passed away. And he passed away in the same hospital I was born in. So I don't know
Oh,
if you knew that or not. So yeah, so there's a
that's so hard.
well, it's really ironic. I mean, I was born in
Yeah,
Spokane, Washington,
and he ended
and
it there.
that's when that's where he passed away on the way to the airport.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry about it. And okay. There are so many things that we need to talk about. Have you already checked your messenger for the update?
oh no, I haven't yet. So been talking to you. So
I
I
understand, but
don't.
I sent the update for the next discussion.
Okay, all right. That sounds like a good topic. So, well, so tell us about what you're planning on doing with the live podcasts media company. What's your goals with that?
It will be like I would like to improve and move on into the general, uh, not only branding, but the media branding. So it's not only about content creation, but how you introduce your personal branding and your brand through the media branding, right? Because I think, okay, autonomous agents AI that acts not just answer. There are so many brands and companies who use AI also as their receptionist, or like not only. I have a message from you. Wait. Oh my god. Okay, so about that, it's like now AI run the businesses also, right? I know it is sad that many of us are worried and afraid to lose our job, because now for the receptionist, the people who accept the booking from the phone calls with AI only, we don't need a lot of receptionists sometimes, and AI already replace it with only one operator. It can be from remote work, not only from your own country or your own area, but you can hire someone far away, right? And even the software, people now mention a lot, they build their website with AI very easy, only takes in minutes. I don't know about coding, so AI will help also. I try some with the WordPress, but I haven't launched it yet. I don't know. So that is my focus now. I would like to help content creators or not only content creators, the business owners, the entrepreneurs, maybe the introverts who are scared to be in front of camera, to build their own content. Of course, with the help of AI or not, but then the goal is to help them to build their brand with media branding. Media branding maybe is not what is it, the active or in high demand for the people are actively searching for what I mean. But then I think people are knowing already about personal brand and about brand itself and how to monetize their brand and what kind of content they should do and what kind of niches they should do that relate with your products, right? What do you think about it, Rob? Is it a good goal that I have now, or maybe it's too small, but I would like to start small first for the very beginning now in these changes?
Yeah, I think you just try and get a get an increasingly refined message around the live podcast media company and what it stands for and what it's trying to share with the world and have your experience and your understanding of the world from a very different place in the world, and make that a unique extension of who you are, and that has, I mean, I think you've already created a community around you of sorts, and I think that is a fantastic thing that you've accomplished, and so, you know, keeping the creation of content going and doing it as often as you can is the way to keep that community engaged with you, to know that you're okay and that you're still thinking about this stuff and you're trying to share, and you know, your unique life experience in how you think about this stuff from, you know, the Southeast Asia area is a very important part of the world right now to growth for podcasting. So I think, you know, you could really be a representative of that part of the world
I
on the global
understand, but I
stage.
would like the global audience, not only the local audience, because they are very, very special already. For the local audience, they create contents that are really, really great. I watch them also
Yeah,
sometimes, but then they are not my market. You know, I learn from them also. I learn from you, and then also from
sure.
our other content creators globally. But then yeah, I would like to reach the global market, not only the locals, right?
Yep.
So maybe different audience, because most of my audience are also from abroad. And then what is the future of live streaming and podcasting? Because yeah, there are some changes, and it seems that it's getting difficult to go live streaming for
Yeah.
some medias that you don't have
Yeah.
the, what is
Yeah.
it, enough followers for that also. And then maybe sometimes you have to pay also to go live streaming, and then you use the expensive software or platform. But there are many more choices today than we used to have. But
Yeah.
then yeah, so which one that we should focus on, especially for our brand? What kind of social media, or with social media that is fit to our brand, or
Yeah.
not or suitable for our brands? How can we reach our niches, or should we create our own market if we don't have any market yet? Oh, too many questions, and it's already almost 1 hour we are here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that the challenge is that you've got to be consistent in whatever that you're doing over a period of time, and that's not always easy to do. I think all of our lives are are busy, and so it's hard to do that. And these platforms are, you know, if you're talking about live streaming, I think it's a challenge on the live streaming because I'm not sure that it's as effective at reaching audience as a pre-recorded piece of content is. That's the unfortunate reality of it. I mean, I'm a big fan of live. I do it all the time, and it's something that I enjoy doing, but it's not always the most effective way of reaching audience because people aren't always available at a live time. This is why live television has struggled, is because people have busy lives and they come in and out of opportunities to watch content. So they have different windows of time that they're available to watch content. And if you're going at a certain time every week, that's great for probably a pretty small segment of your community. But it does create a different type of content. It creates more of an interactive experience.
Yeah,
It
for online
does
selling on TikTok for the
right,
gamers, it is very great that they
right,
do
and
the
you are
TikTok
seeing
and every
live.
day. Yes.
Yeah, you are seeing live be pretty successful on platforms like a Whatnot and these social e-commerce platforms that are growing out there, and people are creating stores and selling products off of their live streams. And so there is a place for live streams. It's not an easy place to play to grow huge audiences. It takes a lot of personality. It takes a lot of skill. It oftentimes takes a lot of patience too. It may be easier to grow a show on YouTube or some of these platforms, LinkedIn or whatever, in a pre-recorded piece of content than it is to do it in live. So I think you have to be a lot more patient to grow audience, and you have to think long term when you're doing live content. Unless you're on like a Whatnot, but even there, people will go. There's shows on the Whatnot e-commerce app that will go from like 3 in the afternoon till 3 a.m. at night. I mean, they'll do 12-hour shows on these
Wow.
platforms,
I haven't checked
and
it. I need to check it. Thank you for
yeah,
informing us.
it's it's a video it's a vertical video platform is what it is. It's not a horizontal one like what we're doing. So people can consume it just holding their mobile phones. And it has conversational, like threaded conversations. It's got auctions. It's got all sorts of, you can run sales on products. It'd be clothing or shoes or trading cards or electronics, that kind of stuff. So, this live video thing is taking a lot of different shapes, and it just depends on where the audience is, what the content is, and your ability to connect with audience. And that's at the end of the day, it's a content game. So content is content, right? It's either interesting or it's not. and if
So
and if
no need to
it's
edit. You
engaging,
can make shorts right away without editing, and then you
well,
can
yeah.
create the clippers right away
But
on
but
whatnot.
honestly, on a 12-hour live stream, that taking clips from it is probably not that interesting.
That is.
So yeah,
But I
so
will make it easy to crop.
yeah. Well,
Sorry, to
there's
choose
different
the
levels,
important parts.
right? So there's different forms, different formats, different things that are going on with the live stuff. And like my live show I do for my new media show, I don't, I don't, I, I don't get that much live engagement. On if I was doing this live show on a YouTube channel that let's say had 1 million followers on it or whatever, I would probably have more of an interactive. I did that when I was on StreamYard's channels. I would have like 100 some people watching at the same time, and my comment stream was so full of comments that I had a hard time keeping up with it. So there's a tension there that exists on the live side.
And what is your favorite social media or platform to build your brand, Rob?
Oh my god! Probably at this point it would be probably I would think I think it's LinkedIn is
LinkedIn.
probably the one that I enjoy the most because it's like a business centric thing, right? And then I would say second to that would be probably YouTube. So And it depends on what you consider YouTube to be. There's a lot of people that consider it to be a social media platform. So what do you define what social media is at the end of the day, right?
That's true. Actually, that is like a tricky question to get your answer. If there is any sign that you are going to join a big brand or something like that.
Yeah. And then
No,
there's TikTok. And then there's TikTok, which is a whole nother conversation, right?
yeah. So then I should ask you right away. In Are you going to join a big brand after this?
I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll see. I'm always open to opportunities, so yeah.
Or do you
I
enjoy
don't I
yourself
don't have anything
to
to
be
announce.
the consultant of big brands, like what you do today?
I mean, no, it'd be fun to have a couple of consulting contracts with some larger media companies or a upstart, AI startup company or something like that. I think it would be an interesting project, right?
That's Rob Greenlee that I know. Always work hard to have others to grow. And then, do you have any more message for us today? Again, I would like to thank you for being here today with me to share about your experiences, about your knowledges in live streaming, podcasting, and content creation, and then also as an influencer and CEO of Trust Factor Lab. And then I don't know. So, what is your next step after this? Besides, uh,
Oh,
still, I think you are renewing new media show. It's a bit
yeah.
different without Todd Cochrane.
Oh, it is different. Yeah, and I've changed the show branding and I've changed its look and feel. I've changed the format of it.
So
There's
it's not
lots of
only about podcasting or for podcasters or anything about podcasters, right? It seems that you
it's
enlarge your topics
Oh,
on
yeah.
this.
Well, I mean, if you think about, well, what does the term new media communicate, right? That's what I've been increasingly thinking about. But I would say probably 75% of the content or more is podcasting because podcasting is kind of central to the modern era of new media. So, I think that there's a lot of connection there. But yeah, I do want to expand it beyond just podcasting, and I think I'm trying to do that. It's not always. I mean, my ties to the podcasting space are pretty strong, so it's hard for me to stray too far from that because it always kind of connects all of the dots of sorts. So yeah, so that show. So if you wanted to check out that show, just go to newmediashow.com. And if you wanted to check out the other project that I have is the Podcast Hall of Fame, which is podcasthall.com, which is the other one. Or if you wanted to check out more about me, you can just go to robgreenlee.com. And that's with two E's. Yeah.
It will be great to connect with you in everything you do. I'm looking forward for your next step. I think you will have a big surprise after this. I don't know. I have a feeling of it. And did we get the voice disturbance before? Because I tried to check the comments here, but I didn't get any comments. But then I opened Facebook. Then there are comments from Barbara Tomlin and Tim Gillette. So
Oh,
thank you so much for the
yeah. Thank you.
comments. And then yes, it's a big honor again and again. I will not stop mentioning and thank you for all of the support for Live Podcast Media, for being the columnist on Live Podcast Insider, the lead judge on Live Podcast Awards, and everything that you have been sharing with us today. Thank you so much, Rob, and I would like to
Yeah, well,
connect
thanks for
with
having me.
you all the time after this. And yes, thank you for strengthening me in this kind of condition that I can go live streaming again. And all of my sponsors, Blueberry, Ecam, Piece of Cake, Voiceovers and Focus, Bioscience Breeds, and Expert in You. And if you have any questions or comments, please TM me or also Rob Greenlee. And you can visit his website also. He can be found everywhere on the social media. He is famous, that's why. So
I don't know if it's famous or infamous.
I prefer that mention that you are famous because you are everywhere. Thank you so much again,
Yeah.
Rob, for coming here to share your insights about content creations, about branding and AI, and what the content creators should do in the era of AI. Right? We have been talking about the creator economy in AI era. 2 minutes our goal today. Have we already discussed everything that we need for the content creators to start or to grow?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, then I can
Yeah.
go home.
I think we're good.
It's already midnight. Thank you so much, Rob, for
Okay.
being here, and
All right. Well, thank
talk
you
to
for
you
having
soon.
me again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.